The dawn stretched across the Texas sky, pale blue melting into the first light of day. A single streak of fire tore through the horizon, delicate, mesmerizing. People stopped in their tracks, eyes lifted, whispering that it looked like a falling star, but it wasn't. It was something far greater and far more fragile. High above, the Space Shuttle Columbia drifted in silence, wrapped in sunlight and human hope. Inside, 7 astronauts floated in weightless calm, laughing, recording experiments, sending messages home. On the ground, NASA Mission Control echoed with quiet routine. "Columbia, you're looking good." Everything seemed perfect. The air, the numbers, the voices. Yet somewhere hidden behind that calm, fate had already drawn its line. A fragment, small as a memory, waited to decide the ending of a journey born from human pride and love for the sky. Inside the shuttle, the world was quiet, only the hum of machines and the soft rhythm of breathing. Sunlight spilled through the window, washing the cabin in gold. The crew floated gently, their laughter echoing through the narrow corridors like music in the vault. For 16 days, Columbia circled the Earth, studying life, fire, and air. Every orbit was a symbol of what humanity could reach when courage outweighed fear. In mission control,
we have a go for launch.
Monitors glowed
T-minus
in
10
calm
seconds.
rhythm. Engineers sipped coffee, trading quiet jokes as data scrolled endlessly across the screens. "Houston, copy that," came the steady reply, words so familiar they felt eternal. On those screens, everything looked perfect. Every number aligned, every system steady. No one noticed the small scar left from launch, a missing tile on the shuttle's left wing, invisible against the vastness of the mission. The data didn't scream. The alarms never sounded. Only silence carried the truth. Down below, families watched the sky on live broadcast. Children pointed, parents smiled, proud that their loved ones were touching the stars. They had no reason to worry. Columbia had flown safely before. It would return safely again. The camera inside the shuttle captured a final moment, 6 smiles, one hand reaching for the lens, a quiet voice saying, "See you soon." Outside the window, the blue curve of Earth shimmered, peaceful, endless, unaware that this beauty was about to break. In the calm hum of
Target
mission
acquired.
control, a faint anomaly
Initiating
appeared, a
tracking
single line of
sequence.
data flickering red. It was small,
Activate
almost
sequence.
invisible among thousands of steady numbers. A young engineer leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "That can't be right," he whispered. The temperature on the shuttle's left wing had begun to rise. He double-checked again and
Echo
again.
7, come in.
The readings held steady, too steady. Across the room, laughter still echoed from another console. The world outside those walls believed everything was fine. But on one screen, the numbers pulsed like a heartbeat out of rhythm. Telemetry showed something strange. The report moved up the chain, quiet, procedural, buried beneath a mountain of checklists. The voices in the room stayed calm, professional. No alarms, no panic. Just the sound of keys clicking and radios whispering, "Copy that, noted." Above Earth, Columbia drifted peacefully through the thin blue glow of dawn. Inside, the crew smiled for the onboard camera, unaware that heat was already eating through the unseen wound
Mayday, do
beneath
you
them.
copy?
Back on the ground, the engineer rubbed his temples, staring at the data that refused to make sense. He didn't know he was staring at the first sign of the end. Somewhere in that silence, between the steady ping of radar and the hum of machines, the future of 7 lives trembled, unnoticed, waiting to speak. The morning of February 1st, 2003. The sun had just begun to rise over Texas, turning the clouds gold. From the ground, the sky looked calm, flawless. But above that quiet, Columbia was returning home, its nose tilted downward, its hull glowing faintly from the first kiss of Earth's atmosphere. Inside, the crew prepared for descent, voices steady, practiced, every word part of a ritual they had done 100 times before. Flight, everything nominal, copy that. Simple words, routine, familiar, comforting. Then somewhere deep in the shuttle's left wing, heat found the wound no one had seen. The missing tile, the open door. Air moving faster than a bullet, sliced inside, roaring through steel and carbon, turning structure into flame. In seconds, the temperature surged beyond control. Inside mission control, one engineer's voice cracked through the radio. Flight, we just lost tire pressure on the left. Wait, we've lost data. Screens flickered. Numbers froze. Someone whispered, that's not possible. A low hum filled the room, the kind that happens before panic takes shape. Above the clouds, Columbia began to tremble. A bright white glow wrapped around the shuttle, then orange, then red. Pieces began to tear free, twisting in a trail of fire across the morning sky. At 8:59 a.m., Columbia broke apart, 60 kilometers above Texas. People on the ground saw it first. Farmers, children, police officers, all looking up at what they thought was a meteor shower. Streaks of fire arching and falling, scattering across the horizon. Some pointed their cameras. Others simply stood, silent, unable to understand what they were witnessing. In the cabin, no alarm screamed loud enough. Just a jolt, Columbia, a blinding flash, and then nothing. 7 hearts, 7 voices, gone in an instant. Back at mission control, the room filled with confusion. Columbia, Houston, do you copy? Silence. Columbia, this is Houston, UHF, do you copy? Silence again. One more call, desperate this time. Columbia, Houston, comm check. No answer. The flight director removed his headset, eyes fixed on the big screen now showing only static. Around him, dozens of people froze, the hum of the computers the only sound left alive. Someone in the back quietly covered their face. Another stood, whispering, we've lost her. Outside, the sky still burned. A trail of white smoke and orange fire drifted apart like veins spreading through the blue. The fragments, wings, panels, dreams began their slow fall through the air. Some would land in forests, others in empty fields. The rest would scatter across hundreds of miles, the final echo of a ship that had once carried human hope beyond the world itself. And then silence. For 1 second, the sound vanished. No wind, no voices, no heartbeat. Only the pale morning sky and the faint shimmer of smoke
Warning.
where Columbia once
System
was.
failure imminent.
For hours, the sky kept falling. Tiny fragments of light drifted down like ashes from a dying star, scattering across the fields of Texas and Louisiana. What had once been a vessel of hope was now scattered across quiet farmlands. Metal, cloth, dreams all burned into dust. People stepped out of their homes, still in disbelief. Some thought it was debris from space. Others could not speak at all. A farmer found a small piece of metal half buried in the grass, its surface warm to the touch. A few miles away, a child picked up a scorched fragment of fabric, the edge of a flag once sewn onto a spacesuit. At mission control, no one moved. The large screen showed nothing but static. The lights dimmed, yet the desk still glowed softly, cups of coffee untouched, headsets still resting where they had been dropped. A photograph of the 7 crew members smiled back from a console, their faces frozen in time, their laughter still echoing somewhere far beyond reach. Outside NASA gates, the flag hung at half-mast. Families gathered, holding one another as reporters whispered in the background. No one shouted, no one tried to explain. Only the slow hum of the air conditioning, the faint rustle of paper, and a quiet voice breaking through the silence. We have lost Columbia. And then nothing. Just the sound of the wind moving through the empty chairs, carrying with it the weight of everything that had been built and lost in the pursuit of the stars. Morning light spilled across the memorial lawn, soft and pale, the kind that makes everything seem distant, almost sacred. 7 portraits stood beneath the flag flying at half-mast. Their faces smiled still, frozen in that last moment before the sky burned. Families gathered quietly, holding flowers, holding one another, searching for meaning in the silence that followed. Columbia was more than metal.
Their
It was a
legacy
dream of
demands
reaching
nothing
higher.
less than our
The speaker's
absolute
voice
determination
trembled, but not
as we
from fear.
face these new
It was
frontiers.
reverence, the kind that comes when humanity remembers what it dares to attempt. Behind him, the American flag rippled gently in the wind, its reflection mirrored in the tears of those who watched. Inside NASA hangar, the remaining shuttles stood motionless: Atlantis, Discovery, Endeavour, each one carrying a part of the grief, each one a reminder that progress has a price. Engineers walked slowly past the grounded giants, touching their sides as if speaking to them, promising that this would not be the end. Across the world, classrooms showed pictures of the 7 who never came home. Children stared wide-eyed, some whispering they wanted to be astronauts one day. Because even in loss, Columbia had given something, the proof that the human spirit is stubborn, unyielding, forever drawn toward the unknown. The video replayed their laughter in zero gravity, the gentle spin of the earth behind them. They looked so alive, so proud. And maybe in some way they still are, carried in every rocket that launches, in every dream that dares to rise. The violin fades, the wind softens. A single line appears across the screen. It wasn't the fire that ended their journey, it was the silence that followed. And as the frame fades to white, you can almost hear it, not an ending, but a whisper: keep reaching.
It wasn't the fire that ended their journey. It was the silence that followed.